Hello everyone. Hello everyone, hopefully this is all working and you can hear me. Let me know down in the chat if it's all sounding good. How are we today? John Malkin has nearly finished work. We've got Thomas Rabenstein here from Stuttgart. We've got, say hi in the chat. Let's talk Apple stuff today. We've got a few stories to talk about. We've got Johnny Ive and his sort of continuing exit from Apple. Very strange situation going on. Not quite sure how different that is now to what we've had in the past, but so that's happened. We've got MacBook Air reviews, should be going live tomorrow. 9to5Mac appears to have found images of the internals, which is quite interesting, so we might have a quick look at those. And then, yeah, let me know what else you guys want to chat about as well. Beautiful. A bit dark. Okay, I can brighten that up a bit. It's very, very bright this end, but I'm guessing that's just going to be on the filters. Let's have a quick look at that. We'll see if we can bring that up a bit for you. Boop. See if that makes a difference. Cool. Hello, The Blob. Hello, Michael Moy. Good to see you all. Did anyone buy anything excellent from Prime Day? That'll be exciting. I'm just going to lock off this camera as well because it just keeps wobbling around and I guess it's a little bit distracting at this point because I'm moving around between a couple of displays. So we're going to do a bit of display capture and that sort of thing. Excited for the arrival of my MacBook Air M2. Yes, I am very much so. So that's coming on Friday. I've not gone for the base model. So we've gone for the other stock configuration. So it's the 512 gigs of storage and the extra couple of GPU cores, so that's all there. John, as long as you can see me, are we okay? Is this all right? Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah. The background is allowed to be dark, and I'm wearing black, so I guess the rest of it being dark is not too bad. There is just one big light up here, though. That's really bright if I go like that. And that will probably throw off the auto exposure for a little bit. But there we go. As long as you can see me, as long as you know I'm here, I think everything's okay. But yeah, what's been standing out for everyone this week? Who is using the public betas? That'll be interesting to know as well. I've been using. We're streaming now on macOS Ventura. That's working fine. I've had literally no issues with macOS. Actually, no, I have got one thing. And if anyone else is using it as well, do let me know. I don't seem to have AirDrop. AirDrop doesn't seem to work, and I'm not sure whether it's from iPhone that's not sending it to the Mac or the Mac that's not receiving it, but the iPhone seems to see the Mac, and I get to send it, and then it just goes to waiting. So if anyone else is using that... Oh, now I look like a ghost because apparently it's now too bright. Let's see what we can do. Let's see. Can we contrast it up a bit? Is that just going to make... Whoa, that's even more ghostly. We could drop the contrast a little and maybe this down and maybe that up. Maybe. We'll try that. I mean, this looks fine on my screen, I've got to be honest. A little bit more saturation. There we go. I have a tan. Beautiful. Let's see what you think of that one. We'll move on from there. iCaveDave wears the suit. Not wearing a suit for every episode. I've said this in the past. We did do it the one week because everyone asked me to. Today we're wearing Mighties, so this is my it's my Steve Jobs with the Macintosh one. Let's have a quick look over here. So Thomas Rabenstein was not brave enough to install the betas on my Mac. I better watch what you're finding out. Okay. I mean, it seems to be working really, really quite well. I think I look way over sunburned, But there we go. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I think... I think I've had very, very few issues, to be fair, with the Mac. It has been more of an issue of, as I say, that slight issue with AirDrop, especially because I do use it for literally every single video as well. That makes it a little bit of a difficult one. So I've actually had to plug my iPhone into the Mac to transfer my files off. So that's a little bit annoying. Sorry, I've just got to wiggle this because I've got a lightning cable stuck under my microphone, which, oh, that's probably going to work super well in the future now, because look at the state of that thing. Got a good old kink in there. We'll see if that still works. Yeah, we've had some pretty hot weather here as well, so yeah, it's been sweaty. You can see over here we've got the Project 91 Mac is in place. We can just swing that camera around a little. Oh, over. Oh, not that way. Come back. There we go. So that's Project 91, which is in progress now. This is the keyboard for it, which is actually previously a black mechanical keyboard. It's just been painted, so it's nice and clicky. So yeah, and I think that's a pretty good match. That'll do the job for me. Evan Rogers, we don't have AC. Nobody really has AC in the UK. It's not a thing. You have it in restaurants and that kind of stuff, and like commercial buildings, but almost nobody has AC at home. It's just not a thing. So I think we're probably around about 24 degrees in the proper way of measuring it here. Sorry, it seems like there's a party going on outside my house, so it's a little bit distracting at the minute. A bit of noise going on, but the kids are in bed now. My wife is on a trip in London, so it's just me today. So hopefully we shouldn't get any children interrupting today anyway as well. How does the weather app look on Ventura? I saw a bit of iOS 16 weather app, and it looks like it provides far more detail. Well, we can open that up, and we can have a look if you'd like. Let me just grab it up here, because we've got a little bit of screen capture going on. And if I drag this over where the browser would be, we can show you. So let's switch that over. I'll disappear for a minute. So here you go. This is the weather app for macOS. And yeah, you get some decent sort of detailed chunks in here. If you click into any of this, then you get little pop-outs. Go into your air pollution, obviously different locations. This is how London is. That's going to be up to 34 degrees Celsius, which is absolutely the way that we're supposed to be doing it. Chicago goes from minus 35 to 40 Celsius over there. My word. Is that where you are, John? Jeez. That's pretty toasty. I mean, I lived in Dubai for a year, and yeah, anything high up, I'm not a big fan of, to be completely honest. But yeah, so that's what the weather app looks like. If there's anything that you want me to, I mean, it's kind of dull at the minute because it's just clear skies. And part of the fun of the weather app is that it will sort of show the weather conditions in the background. Clear skies just gives you a nice gradient, which does look lovely, but not a huge amount of stuff. So yes, the iPad version is also basically like that. I haven't got it handy with me at the minute, but yeah, I did post on Twitter yesterday. I installed iPadOS 16 on my iPad Air 4, and all I got was this lousy weather app, because basically that seems to be the only change if you haven't got an M1 in your iPad. So, oh, you're moving to Chicago. Interesting. Cool. Have you had a chance to try out the iPhone as webcam feature? I mean, this special shooting angle from above. No, not yet. So you reminded me of this when I think you retweeted Sarah Dietschy's little video of it. It does look really good, the top down thing. So I think that would be pretty cool. I will give that a try, but I think that's more of a laptop feature, and obviously I don't have a laptop here at the minute. I could probably do it on the Mac Mini, but it's going to be really high up because like the top of my display is way up here because it's a 40-inch, and I've got like 6 inches maybe underneath the display above the desk. So yeah. Oh, so you're moving to the UK? Oh, very cool, John. Yeah, so I don't think putting the iPhone on top of my display would be much good. That's why I actually look over here, because I have a second display which is on a monitor arm that I can move up and down. So I move it down a little bit so that the camera's not like massively high above me, and then that makes the most sense for using it. But yeah, I don't think that continuity camera is going to look particularly good if it's too high up, and I think it might throw off that desktop view that it does as well. And also my desktop is always a mess. But it would be cool for doing any sort of tutorials, that kind of thing. But also I think what will be interesting is for when I'm doing this unboxing, that kind of thing. Maybe we could do it for that. Joe, how do you deal with the keyboard near your elbow? I bump into it constantly. It doesn't normally sit here. I put it here when I was making yesterday's video, I think, so it would be in the background of the shop. But it doesn't normally live there. That's just where it is for now. And I appear to have unlocked the camera again, but that's fine. Dave 2 did a demo. The resolution is low, and if the object is tall, it sucks. Otherwise, it's good. Oh, that makes sense, because obviously it's kind of doing AI stuff to take out the basically like a keystone effect that you would have on a projector, right? So if you're not bang on square to a wall with a projector, then you can kind of adjust the angles, and it kind of skews everything out. That makes sense. Joe, hi, by the way, also. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to play around with. I think there's going to be a lot of people that do like it. Brian Data, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, continuity camera is one of those features that I was like really excited that they are bringing. I need to find a way of mounting my iPhone on the back as well, or just chucking it on a tripod behind the laptop. But we will see what the best way is for doing it. I think that the top-down view is quite clever, though, and it's kind of the same tech that people are using now for cars, I think, isn't it? So you get that 360 camera effect where you've got multiple cameras around the car, and then it generates the car in the centre of it, and gives you that top-down version. The Dave 2D demo was very good. It has a lighting mode that balances the foreground and background too. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, we will definitely play around with that. I'm not sure if continuity camera gives you center stage as well, does it? I can't remember if they mentioned that at all. But yeah, I think it's a really cool feature, and I think they will probably add more and more depth to the feature as time goes on as well, which is it's going to be really good, I think. But yeah, we've got Johnny Ive has left Apple. That's interesting all of a sudden, but like he'd gone for a while. I'm not quite sure where this report's come from or who said it, that he's no longer working with them, no longer consulting for Apple. And I think it's kind of a shame, because Johnny's work, like, I love his design work. Whether the products became a little less practical because of the choices he was making from a design aspect, and sort of ignoring some of the practicality, I think is quite reasonable to argue. But I think the look and the industrial design of the products that were created under Johnny are undeniably very good. And it'd be interesting to know if he had much input on the current aluminium MacBook Airs. Just said that because Evan has pointed out aluminium. It's not pronounced aluminum. It's pronounced aluminum if it's wrong, I would say. Onto the Max Tech stuff, Brian has just brought up. They quoted me on their thumbnail, the manufacturer controversy part, which was interesting. John, yes, I did see that Rene Ritchie has left MacBreak Weekly, and they mentioned that he's moving on to something. So I've been kind of searching around to find out if I can find out what that is, but I can't seem to see anything. He hasn't tweeted about anything that he's doing. But I'm really interested in where he's going, because I have a feeling it must be something big if he's all of a sudden not able to do MacBreak Weekly, or doesn't have time for MacBreak Weekly. Maybe he's taking over one of the bigger sites. I'm not sure. Very interested to see where he ends up. Joe, I'm trying to justify not getting a Mac, but at this point, with all the iPadOS limits, they're finally starting to come down on me. First it wasn't so bad, but now I've got to do the switch. Yeah. I think the Mac at this point is still very much it is the productivity machine still. Like, as much as they keep trying to push the iPad as being this productivity thing, it's just not at this point the way that the software works. Don't get me wrong, I'm really happy with the way that they did multitasking in the past with the individual, split pane windows. I don't think it needs to have the floating windows. That just means that you're putting gaps around the outside and wasting space, as far as I can see. It doesn't seem to have that much more productivity with Stage Manager than it does without. Like, I've tried Stage Manager on the Mac here, and it's there. I don't see how it's helpful, and I do think it's only on the Mac, so that people that use it on the iPad have got the option to do both. Dom Bullock, hello, welcome, glad you got home. I just don't see that Stage Manager thing being that helpful. But yeah, it does feel like when you go to the iPad, the only thing you've got, if you haven't got an M1 chip, is a weather app. So that's a little bit disappointing. The other thing I think with the iPad is on the lock screen, it's very easy to do all of the customization on the iPhone. But what they've done is they've just put a chunky font on the iPad one, and I don't see how you can change that, which is really sad because I don't like the chunky one. I like the nice thin San Francisco font that we already have. Yeah. Joe, also Stage Manager thing being M1 only was the tip of the iceberg. So you got a A12Z, have you, for the iPad Pro, I'm guessing? Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it was an unnecessary limitation. It does seem like there is some sort of a reason that it needs to have that hardware, and it seems to be the RAM volumes. But we know that the A12Z can, at least to a degree, run Mac OS, because that's what they put in the developer transition kit as well. So I don't know. It all seems a little bit sussy. Seems a little bit confusing about why they've done it the way that they have. But there we go. It is a little bit strange, certainly. Thomas Rabenstein, okay, on Stage Manager, what happens when you open an app via Stage Manager and then maximize the window size? Is the app automatically removed from Stage Manager and placed on a separate desktop? I haven't got an M1 iPad, so I don't know. I've just got a weather app. I can tell you what the weather's going to be like wherever you want. But yeah, very, very strange. And I'm not quite sure why they've done it. Anyone got a theory? Also, does anyone know where Rene Ritchie's going? Because that would be interesting. I want to try out Universal Control. Gotcha. So Universal Control, I kind of like that. I think that's a really useful little bit of kit, and especially if you've got multiple Macs. So there's all the talk about limitations of the numbers of displays that you can run on a single Mac. But what you can do now is, if you use if you want to have more displays and you don't want to go up the levels, you can actually have an M1 Mac Mini on your desktop that kind of just sits there and has all your network drives attached, as I might be doing with Project 91. And then you can have a MacBook, for example, and then when you sit down at your desk, you just control your Mac Mini through your MacBook, and you can get to all of your files on the MacBook, and you can drag files between them. So it's basically like having all of those displays just sitting there waiting for you. It's just that they're run from a different system. So that is actually not a bad way of extending the number of displays that you can use. I think that's quite cool. Michael Moy, Rene Ritchie posted a video on encryption 8 hours ago, so he is still posting. Yeah, so I watched that video. Very lacking Apple stuff, I thought. But, interesting nonetheless. I know he's still posting, but he's basically stepped back from MacBreak Weekly, which is Leo Laporte. That's his network, and he used to be like a every week regular on there, giving the Apple angle. And he's had to step back from there because of a new project of some sort, and we don't know what that will be. He will keep doing YouTube. He said he's waiting for the new employer to issue a press release. Yeah, I just want to know who is the new employer. Very interesting, because he went independent because he wanted to be independent, right? So he used to make all of his videos and edit iMore, I want to say. Maybe he's going back to iMore. That'd be pretty cool if he did. He did mention iMore, I think, in his last video as well during the sponsor spot. It was on encryption, so, and I don't see Apple stuff on it. Maybe he's doing educational videos or something. Rennie's pivoting to Google. I mean, that's never going to happen, is it? But yeah, it's just a really interesting thing. Like, this is the cool that we're now wondering what's going on. I think he's doing a good job, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see like the moves that are going on, and I wonder if it's something to do with generalized recession and maybe YouTube ad revenues dropping a bit. Because I was like, I didn't think my views were down, but I didn't make so much money. Rennie's posted a lot of stuff that makes me think TechTube slowdown hits him hard. Yeah, it is tricky. It is tricky. He had this arrangement with a learning company before where you could get his best stuff. I think that's Nebula, which is like a creator-owned streaming platform that goes along with Curiosity Stream. So maybe he is doing some more stuff with them, but I don't think he was one of the kind of founders of it. There's all sorts of creators on there. Interesting. I don't think Rennie was making enough just on YouTube. He was getting frustrated with the types of video he had to make. Yeah, I think that's probably the case, and I think he is probably going back to doing more writing, maybe. Yeah, maybe he's going to Wired. Maybe he's going to, he could go to any of these big platforms. And I know he was quite close with Laurie, I think her name was, who was at iMore, who then went to work for Apple. So she actually writes a lot of the tutorial videos that Apple put out for themselves now. I think her name was Laurie. Something like that. Yeah. She was great. And she used to be on Twitter as well quite a lot. One other thing, the UK education store, and I think the European-wide Apple education store is down right now. So if you go over to the Apple education site, this is what you get right now. So there's stuff coming. Be interesting to see what they're updating. I guess it's just the back to school that's being launched. We've got that sort of stuff coming on. It'd be funny if Rennie becomes an in-house Apple influencer. Like they used to have software evangelists. That was what Guy Kawasaki used to do, like Apple evangelists. And I think that's something that maybe they should bring back. I mean, obviously their executives do a lot of that stuff. But having somebody that's inside Apple that's helping them with the way that they communicate externally might be really good. Because I think Renee's done a lot of defending of Apple when certain things happen. But yeah, I mean, if they do that, it will be declared, don't get that mixed up. It will be very above board and very kind of reported. It won't be something that happens just in the background. It won't be sort of hidden away, I don't think. So yeah, the Blob has said, I saw an Indian channel saying lockdown mode can even defeat Pegasus malware. Sadly, it was in Indian, so that's all I know about it. So yeah, that was kind of the point of lockdown mode, from what I understand, is that the Pegasus spyware, which was the NSA group, I think, unless I'm mixing this up with another piece of kind of malware, spyware stuff, that was really the reason that the lockdown mode was introduced. It's basically, it does stop all of those delivery methods for getting these exploits onto your device, as far as I understand it. So yeah, that it should defeat Pegasus, because that's the whole point, but it's not something that you can then kind of put on your device. I think if you go to lockdown mode once you've got issues with it already, it's probably not as effective, but it's more to stop those exploits and malware pieces coming into the picture in the first place, as I understand it. But I could be wrong on that. According to MKBHD, we will be getting our embargo lifted on the MacBook Airs tomorrow. Then mine will arrive on Friday. I was just hoping that they weren't going to do the embargoes until then. But yeah, mine will be here on Friday. So we will do an unboxing. One of the things that I think is unlikely is that I don't think we'll see many benchmarks coming out tomorrow, because I don't think Apple allows people to benchmark them as part of the kind of review process that they do. I don't think. But we've already seen some of the Geekbench scores coming out. It's in line with the MacBook Pro with M2, as you would expect. One thing we haven't seen yet is if these M2 MacBook Airs are using a single NAND flash on the 256GB models. My expectation is they probably will. My expectation is that in reality it won't make much difference for most people in most workloads, so I wouldn't worry about it, but I have gone up to the next spec version. Michael Moy, am I getting a review model? No, I'm getting a retail one. It's the 512 full M2 version, not the bin chip. Whether I can keep it at the minute is the difficulty, because it was ordered when I was on the brink of getting a job, which I then didn't get. I've got some other interviews and stuff in process at the moment to try and keep myself, with a roof above my head. Yeah, so it might well have to go back. But we will see. It depends how quickly I can get something else in place. So that's the situation. Joe, MKBHD really is the exception to Apple's embargo rules, in my opinion. He did the benchmark scores repeatedly on his channel. Yes, but I don't think he did them before people had them in their hands. I think he tends to do it a little bit later. Onikazi asks 8 or 16GB. I've just gone for 8 because genuinely I don't think the RAM is an issue at all. The unified memory for me. Having used this M1 Mac Mini for goodness knows how long, I've had no issues with that. But again, it's one of those things that I think the base models in general, in terms of the storage and everything else, will resell better. I don't think you're going to see the version that I've got, which is 1550, going for much more than the base models in resale. So I don't think it will make much difference. The Blob says, I will try to make lockdown work on the daily, even if you switch most of the options off, it's still safer than not having it on. Would love to see a video about it if you deem newsworthy. It's something that I will try. But I genuinely don't think it's going to be... I don't think you get options within it. In fact, let's have a quick look. I've got a feeling that lockdown mode is an on or off. I don't think you can pick and choose features, but I could be wrong on that. I would guess it's under privacy. Nope. Lockdown. That'll be the quickest way. So yeah, lockdown mode is literally just a single, you turn it on or you turn it off. You don't get to choose individual parts. So yeah, that's the situation on that one. Bibask7, welcome back, my friend. You haven't been around for a while. 13-inch MacBook Pro or more like MacBook Profit. I'm not quite sure why everyone's saying this. It's not so much about that. It's a form factor that a lot of people are familiar with, I think, and that's the main reason that they're doing it. I don't think that the new MacBook Airs cost much less or much more to make. I think it's basically just an option if you prefer to have a fan and you feel like it's going to be easier. Joe, 512 gigs of storage minimum for all Macs. I really don't think you need to. The vast majority of people probably don't need to store that much on their Macs. I think most people are using cloud storage and external drives and things like that. I don't think it's as much of an issue as people think, and I think it's fine to give the option of less storage. Onikazi Eek run into it multiple times a week due to my unhinged amount of tabs. I see a pinwheel. One time it's time to hit one tab button, find 150 tabs closing. That's crazy. That's crazy. 150 tabs. I'm really, at the minute, weirdly, I've actually got Safari and Chrome open purely because I use Chrome for vidIQ, which is like a plugin for YouTube, so that I can keep an eye on what tags are doing what, and it gives me suggested titles and all sorts of stuff. It's a really useful plugin, but it doesn't work on Safari, so I've had to kind of have Chrome on the go as well. But even on right now we've got one tab open in Safari, which is the one that we're streaming through, and then Chrome has 4 tabs. That's I've never felt the need to keep loads of tabs open just randomly around. It's just never bothered me that much. Evan Rogers, Dave, what will your next Apple purchase be? Well, in a couple of days we've got a MacBook Air coming. Whether it's staying, as I say, another matter. We will see. We have had a couple of new patrons join, which is lovely. If you do want to join the Patreons, iCaveDave.com/Patreon, and you can help to support the show. This is not a massive advert, I just thought I would mention it, but we have had a couple of new patrons, which is very much appreciated. But yeah, and if you decide to join while we're on air, you will get a shout out, obviously, on here. I think that's only fair. But in terms of next purchase, I don't really know. I will be getting the next iPhone, because this is a 12 Pro Max, so I do an every 2-year upgrade cycle at the moment. I don't see why I would change that this year. Not sure which one I'll get actually this year, which I've always kind of gone for the one with the better camera, because that is what we use for the channel the vast majority of the time. So we'll see on that situation. But yeah, iPhone is probably the next big one, pending what happens with this. Let's see what else we got here. John Malkin, do you think the new Apple TV will launch with the Apple VR in January? No, I think Apple TV might well be getting an update a little bit sooner than that. I think it might be in September, and I said this just after WWDC. We didn't... Oh my god, how have you got 345 tabs on your iPhone? Unbelievable. Anyway, I do think that because we didn't hear anything about Apple TV or HomePods at WWDC, where they were introducing all of the new software, which would normally include those, anything that they want to add in terms of new software features might be dependent on new hardware, so I think it might well be September, October. Probably September. September is now our consumer event. That's when we get our phones, we get our watches, we get our basic iPads, maybe even iPad Pros with M2. I could see them basically refreshing pretty much all the iPads at that event. I could see that happening. And then I think we will see the Mac event in October, and I think we will get the M2 update for the iMac. I think we will get M2. Oh, hey, Sarambai, it's nice to see you. I do think we'll be getting that. I do think we'll be getting the MacBook Pros, hopefully, with M2 Pro and M2 Max, and I think we will get Mac Mini refresh with M2 and M2 Pro. That makes all the sense in the world to me. But Saran, you need to weigh in with your opinions on this, my friend. You don't get to just turn up here and not join in. But yeah, I think that's what I would expect anyway. Saran's not allowed to comment without paying for super chats. I mean, that's fair. He's a very successful and rich YouTuber just like me. But yeah, we have got some teardowns of the interior of MacBook Airs, which is I think interesting, over on 9to5 Mac. So this is what it looks like. And it's very sleek looking under there. Have they put like it's like underneath the bonnet of a BMW where you can't see anything that does anything. Like they've put like a shield over the top so you can't, to protect the modesty of the board, I guess. But yeah, I tell you what that also means is we can't see how many NAND flash chips are on it, which is a little bit annoying, isn't it? Michael Moy, I have 12 pinned tabs on Firefox. In general, I max out at 20. 12 pinned and the rest tabs anymore, and they're too hard to find. Yeah, I agree. Like, just close it. Like, it's a website. You can reopen it. It's not a problem. Onikazi, how do I right-click on iPhone? That's a very good point. I think it's like force touch now. It's not even force touch anymore. It's long press. That's basically right-click. But yeah. Okay, cool. We've done tech support now in the chat. That's good. But yeah, I think this new MacBook Air, it looks very sleek even inside, and everything looks very, very thin on that, I've got to say. I'm really excited about seeing this on Friday when it arrives. So Brian Data. Oh, okie dokie. So Brian was asking whether we were getting the podcast back together, and we were talking about doing it when there are events and things like that on. So yeah. I mean, I think Saran and I are still on vaguely speaking terms, aren't we, Saran? I think we're okay to hook up again if we need to for some events. That'd be really good. Although WWDC was just a bit crazy around that for me because I was working in different places and yeah. Is the battery on M2 MacBook Air bigger or smaller? I don't know. Battery capacity. I would guess they've made it bigger, but because it still gets 18 hours of battery and it uses more power. So I would guess it's bigger physically. Let's see if the internet knows. So the M2 MacBook Air has a 52.6 watt-hour battery. And let's find out what the old one did. So the old one had a 49.9 watt-hour battery. So yeah, it's slightly bigger on the new one, which is good, I guess. Especially when you potentially are as well going to have, you've got more RAM in there. RAM, unified memory, does use a reasonable amount of battery power as well from memory. Joe, waiting for Genius Bar to drop with Max Tech and Saran's new video. Saran, are you going on Genius Bar with Max Tech? Yeah, I was picking on Max Tech a little bit last week. Then I got quoted in their thumbnail when they were all sad about being picked on. Sorry, Vadim, I know you can take it. And we read out their statement and everything. We were really good. We were nice. The Blob, the Air is going to be rad. I think it will be, absolutely. Bibalisk 7, the battery on M2 Air is bigger than the M1 Air. Yep, it is a little bit bigger. Yep. Joe, the new video is coming, but can't lie, the heat is killing me. You're down in London as well, aren't you, Saran? It's a little bit warmer down there than it is up here too. I think we've had, in fact, I can check because we have a weather app on the Mac now, so I can check how warm it's been here. Good to know. So yeah, today we were up to like 24, which isn't crazy, but I think you had like 30 down there. So we have had a little bit of streamy stuttering there. I think I might have done a bit too much stuff in the background. Oh, I do still have Final Cut open, so that's probably not helping, is it? I'm really not kind to my computer while it's doing all this stuff. And we've got Chrome and Safari on the go as well. Chrome is probably the big culprit, let's be honest. Let's kill that. Let me know if you actually noticed any issues with the stream on your end, but YouTube got all sad about it anyway. 31 degrees, is that what you had today? Sorry, dude, that's rough. That's not what you want. Oh, now I sound like Linus. He just says that everything's rough. Brian Data, 30, mate, that's not a heat wave. Oh, come on. It's hot for us, we don't have aircon. We don't get aircon over here. But yeah, I mean, have you all seen what's going on with Apple Track as well? Apple Track used to be a website that people went to, and now it seems to be an Instagram account, which is a little bit strange. Has our stream recovered a little bit? Because, let me know if the weather's not, let's talk properly. If the video's not looking good. Celsius is for unserious people. Come on. As someone who's lived primarily in the UK, 31 is too hot. Yeah, I mean, I lived in Dubai for a while, so I'm okay with hot, but it doesn't mean it's not uncomfortable. John Malkin, have you used Edge for Mac OS? No, because I'm not a sadist. No, I don't want to self-harm. I don't think that's... Nobody should have to do that, should they? It's Con Air, one of Cage's better movies. Absolutely not. I'm turning into a tomato? What's happening? Right, let's change this. Am I looking too red again? It does get warm in here, to be fair. Especially with the lights on. With the big light on. Let's see what we can do. Can I look more human than this? Take a bit of that out, put a bit of that in. Oh no, that's just, oh, that's atrocious. I mean, I think that looks more human. But we shall see. I'm sure you'll all let me know. I don't do Celsius because I'm American. Yeah, myself and Evan have been having chats about how wrong America is about a lot of stuff. Like the pronunciation of aluminium, which is pronounced aluminium. I need it for my school. It's not bad and better than Chrome. I think it basically is Chrome, isn't it? Like Edge is just the Chromium browser, but with a different skin on it. So, you know, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, Chrome and Firefox. Firefox is apparently just as bad on memory, I think, as Chrome nowadays. So, yeah. Yeah, what's everyone's take? Who is there anyone in the chat who's using the public betas right now? Because I know Evan isn't. I'm sure Saran must be. How are you getting on with the public betas, my friend? You must be on them, surely, on every device, because that's all we do. We don't say beta wrong. This is how it's supposed to be said. Sorry, Don. Do you think the ancient Greeks or Romans or whoever it was, don't at me, was saying beta? I don't think they were. So my beta aluminium MacBook is yeah, it's perfect. Don't you worry, you guys. You don't risk it with betas, not on anything. You've got like 400 Macs and phones, haven't you? I thought you bought everything. I am getting more and more excited, by the way, about this thing, because I've been looking at getting some stuff. Beta, like the fish. What's a... What? Fish is pronounced fish. I'm actually still on Big Sur with my M1 Air. What are you doing, Saran? What's wrong with you? Brian Data, Edge is Microsoft. Yes, it is, but we're talking about more important things now. Saran has just confessed that he's still using Big Sur. What's going on? What do you think is going to break? What do you use that's so exciting? Come on. This is absolute controversy here. Max Tech is nothing on this. What's going on, Saran? Onikazi, you're going to wait for a release or 3 before I jump on the beta train. This is the 3rd beta, so, you know, jump on in. You're all good. You're all good. Is there nobody else that plays with them? Is it just me? Oh, I feel even more special now. But yeah, I've got to say, like, I have been liking the lock screen stuff. That's pretty good. It does feel nice to have new things, which is good. If my MFA app on iPhone for work breaks due to a beta, I can be fired. Okie dokie. Saran has no idea why he isn't updated yet. I mean, honestly, Saran, I've got to update my wife's MacBook Air. She's got the M1 upstairs. I need to do that before she comes home from London. I said to her that I would get it up to date because she's now 2 operating systems behind, just like you. Unbelievable. As someone who uses Monterey, I wish I hadn't updated. Why? What's the problems with it? I haven't noticed any issues with it, but yeah. It's very strange. Like, I always want the new. I always want the new stuff. You know, I updated my iPad specifically because I needed a weather app, because that's basically all you get if you've not got an M1 inside. We know this. John Malkin, when I worked in the UK, we had an editor to adjust our reports for UK English. You could have just learned proper English while you were here, John. It would have been fine. But yeah, it's been a bit of a week. You know, we've got the public betas now. I've been enjoying them, and they're called betas. I'm not backing down on this. Just like aluminium. I've enjoyed them. I think they're pretty good. The background deletion, like grabbing the subject from an image on the iPhone, that is magical. Like I haven't played with it yet for doing thumbnails, but I would love to try and do like thumbnails on my iPhone, because now I can actually do all the stuff that I would be doing on Photoshop on the Mac. Maybe I could even stop paying Adobe money. We'll see. Heard people are still on macOS Catalina. That hurts my heart. That wasn't a great version. My iMac won't run anything newer than Big Sur, so what, you on a 2014? I want to say 2014, 2015 maybe? Your wife is Australian, so... Oh, okay, I see. We were talking about the language barrier. That makes sense now. But yeah, I think we're kind of running out of news. It's weird. Tomorrow, obviously, we will have stuff to do. Oh, here we go. While we talk about betas, does anyone know when the next Monterey update is due? How do I get those betas? You can go to beta.apple.com and you can join the public betas for the current software. That's another option that you can do. It's just a different profile that you install. So I don't know which one I was on. I think it was 12.4 when I finished over there. But there we go. So let's have a look here. Right. Mojave was the best macOS version of the decade. Was it really, though? Was it? Dave, what games or content are you hooked on at the moment, and what do you like about it? So, content-wise, The Boys, and The Boys. That's all that needs to be said. The Boys is incredible. If you haven't watched it, definitely get on it. It's great. The Sneeze, if anyone has watched it, you know what I mean. That's all I'm saying. So, content-wise, it's that. Games-wise, I've actually been playing some PlayStation 2 stuff emulated on the Mac Mini, which is really quite cool. And it emulates really, really well. You can upscale stuff to 4K, and I've been playing a bit of Gran Turismo 2 and reliving my childhood, so that was really good. And my wife's been playing The Simpsons Crazy Taxi. So she's been having a lot of fun with that. Otherwise, games-wise, Kerbal Space Program is still my first and one true love. In terms of on the iPhone, I play a few arcade titles, because I'm thinking... Because I might be doing some writing online for an Apple review news site, if they ever call me back, and get on with things. So... yeah, there's a few things in Apple Arcade that I'm playing at the moment to kind of get to grips with. I would quite like to do some comparisons of like all of the driving games on Apple Arcade, all of the adventure games, all of the action games, like something like that, like league table them kind of thing. And then that's nice and easy to update when more stuff comes out. But me and Ted both play the Transformers game from Apple Arcade because love a bit of Transformers. Still got some of my like 80s G1 Transformers knocking around, which is good. Yeah. Oh, Ms. Marvel, Thomas Ravenstein is mentioning. I know there was an X-Men kind of Easter egg at the end of that, which is quite cool. Yeah. No spoilers for The Boys, says John Malkin. How much have you watched, John? I don't think there was any spoilers there. I haven't watched any of Miss Marvel yet. I've watched everything else of Marvel's, and I haven't watched the new Thor. But, yeah. Watched all of the other series. Actually, the only one, Eternals, I haven't watched yet. I just haven't found the excitement to actually watch it. The Blob is saying your retro Mac brings back memories. Had them at our school back when floppy disks were actually floppy. No, one of these they weren't. This is the old 3.5-inch ones. It's the 5 1/4s that were the floppy disks, right? John, you haven't watched any of it. Come on, man. Come on. You've got to get on this. So good. Watch The Boys. Yeah, I've not watched Ms. Marvel yet. The rest of it I've watched, as I say. But over to the Retro Mac. Just in case anyone wasn't here at the beginning. This is actually a mechanical keyboard that I've made up to go with it. So this has been hand painted. It's been painted by me with spray cans. And then it's had like a nice dust coat over the top of it. And it's nice and clicky. So it's not like the horrible membrane switch keyboards that feel like you're typing on jelly. But I think that's a nice little sleeper, and it's got all the RGB backlighting and all that sort of stuff to go along with it. So it's like a sleeper keyboard that will go with the sleeper M1 that's going inside here, which is going to be exciting. I'm going to hopefully do that over the next few days, or at least get closer to it. I think there's going to be some stuff where it gets delayed, so I might have to do it as a multi-part series. I think it would be good. But yeah, got a display to go in it. Got the display controller over here. That had to come over from like eBay from China somewhere. That's the keyboard. Mouse is the thing that I'm struggling with to get something that looks the part to go with this mouse-wise. I can repaint, that's fine. But, yeah. Evan Rogers says, what sort of work did you do in Dubai? So I was there opening a luxury resort on the Palm. If you look at the Palm Jumeirah itself, if you go on Apple Maps, in fact, we could pull that up, couldn't we? Because we've got all that set up here. We could do it. I'll show you where the resort was that I worked at. Let me just get this into about the right place, and then we can switch over to it. So, there's a map. Let's go to Dubai. Do I remember how to find Dubai? Probably not. So let's just... there we go. Right. So Atlantis is right there on the top of the Palm. And then my resort that I was working at was just down here. One and only. So this 101 dining and lounge bar, that was the bar that I was looking after specifically. Yeah. But let's go over to the old satellite map, because you can see a little bit more about what it looks like. Just in case any of you guys watched the Mission Impossible movie that was filmed in Dubai, all of the scenes that were in India were in fact filmed in this hotel here. Because we kept having to drive past all of the sports cars and everything that were parked up on this outside road around the outside of the Palm. But yes, this was my little bar down here, this little marina bar, like a double tent kind of thing. Yeah, so I was like a bars trainer over there. Pretty fun. Right, now I've missed a bunch of stuff on here, so let's have a look what we got. John Malkin was asking, was saying that he hasn't watched Stranger Things, neither have I. Really not interested in it. It's weird. It's one of those. Eternals would have benefited from being a series instead of a movie, says Onikazi. That makes sense. Let's have a look. Evan Rogers and Will We Ever Meet the Missus? She hates being on camera, so probably not. Apex Legends on iPhone is pretty damn good. Collects all your data, but it's hard to pass on for free. Yeah, so I've played a little bit of that. That's installed still. Call of Duty Mobile on the iPad. I tend to play on the iPad a bit more, but yeah. Transformers one's great. John Malkin, any famous customers? Yeah, so John Terry, we looked after the whole of the AC Milan Football Club and FC Frankfurt, because they were both sponsored by Emirates at the time. So yes, we did have some famous customers in. Yep. The opening night, because we were there to open the resort, was the Louis Vuitton trophy. So that was, you know, a lot of fashion people who I didn't know, but were apparently very famous. But yeah, Ronaldo, I think, was probably the most famous guy. Yeah. It is, I mean, it's a very exclusive resort, the Palm. So it was, I mean, one and only resorts are all exclusive, but there's like 2 in Dubai, and this is like the pricey one of the 2. So every room is a suite. They pretty much all have their own pools, as well as the main big pool. And then we had a 3 Michelin-starred chef, Yannick Aleno, who looked after all of the restaurant outlets, and then I looked after the drinks side of things. If you have kids, let them watch it with you. Are we talking about The Boys? Yeah, definitely watch The Boys with kids whenever you can. Evan Rogers, Dave isn't impressed with sports stars. He would have lost his shiz if Air Force One had showed up. Absolutely. Although, that being said, when I was in Dubai, I probably wouldn't have known who he was anyway, because I only got my first iPhone just before I went out to Dubai. This was like 2010. I went over in beginning of November 2010, and the iPhone 4 had only just come out, so it was still Steve Jobs territory at the time. And yeah, that was my first Apple device. Never had anything from Apple before that. While I was over there, I bought an iPod Nano, which happens to still be here, and it's still in the watch strap that I had when I was in Dubai as well. So I bought this watch strap for it. I think it's probably still got battery, because I was playing with it. Yep, we can load it up. And you can see this is the old... we had it in watch mode most of the time. Yeah. My first Apple Watch. Daisy in the Rain, very, very late. Don't worry, you don't get fined. It's no problems at all. For All Mankind seem to have adapted the Russians and how they behave in the new season. Yeah, a little bit. Are they more aggressive now? I haven't actually watched the latest season yet. I haven't had time, but I will. Definitely want to do that. Thomas Rabenstein, not The Boys. I would not allow that for my kids. I meant Miss Marvel. I'm sure it'd be fine. Anyone seen Loot yet? I know Apple Tomorrow was watching this today, and he said it's awesome. He said he was like addicted to it after the first 3 minutes or something. So I'm quite up for watching a bit of that. I'm really behind on Apple TV stuff. Although we subscribe to it, I've not watched loads of it. There's Severance I haven't even watched yet. The new For All Mankind, which I was even re-catching up on the last season to be ready for that, and then I haven't watched any of it. So maybe I do need to talk a bit more about Apple TV stuff. It fills some gaps, wouldn't it, where we've got no news going on. We've got a few questions in for tomorrow's show for iCave Answers. So if you've got any questions that you would like me to answer, it would be really good to get some more questions and maybe have some that aren't from Randomness R. I very much appreciate that he's asking all these questions, but it would be nice to mix up and get some other names in there as well. Evan Rogers says, I love it. Maya Rudolph is perfection. She's never looked hotter. I don't even know who she is. I'll have to check it out. But yeah, let me have a look at that one. And yeah, I think we're going to wrap this show up a little bit. But yeah, please, if you've got any questions for iCave Answers, throw them into the chat. We'll get a video out for tomorrow with some of that stuff. We will obviously be seeing other people do their reviews of the MacBook Air tomorrow. That should all be coming out. All the all the embargoes end, and then they start to turn up on people's doorsteps on Friday, which will be exciting. Saran says, I've seen tons of ads for Blackbird. Is that out on Apple TV? I think it comes out, it might have come out at the end of last month. Maybe it's the end of this month. Can't quite remember. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Unless you've got any final questions, we will call that a day at an hour, which is about right. Happy days. Thanks ever so much for being here, guys, and we will see you in the next one.